Sure, you've eaten at McDonald's plenty of times, but that doesn't mean you're doing it right. Here's a rundown of everything you need to know before you go there again. From money-saving tricks to dirty little secrets the famous burger chain doesn't want you to know. You've no doubt heard about the hack to getting the freshest fries at McDonald's. Just ask for them with no salt. Once you've got your fresh fries, throw a bit of salt on them yourself and voila, you've beaten the system. Except you haven't. In fact, putting this so-called hack into practice is a waste of your time and everyone else's. It isn't even going to make your fries better, and it's actually a breach of fast food etiquette because it causes a holdup in the queue as staff scurry to make that fresh batch. Applying table salt to fries isn't the same as the restaurant's method of applying finer salt to them either. By throwing your own on there, you're just gonna waste a bunch of salt and make your fries taste weird. So why bother? And that's not all. Asking for this special order is a huge hassle for the cooks themselves, who have to remove the fries currently under the heater, make sure the bin is free of salt, and start a whole new batch of fries, all because you wanted to try out that funny little hack you found online. Just don't do it, okay? Here's one for anyone fond of McDonald's breakfasts. You might already be aware of the existence of the classic McDonald's egg. That's the one that comes up in things like their breakfast sandwiches and tends to be a weird square and yellow thing that looks more like cheese than anything else. In fact, it's a scrambled egg concoction that is pressed into a square patty. Luckily, however, it's not your only choice of egg on the menu. If you'd rather have the egg more commonly associated with the Egg McMuffin, all you have to do is tell your cashier that you'd like your sandwich made with a round egg. They'll make sure your order contains the poached version, and it'll cost you nothing extra. You could probably host a whole debate over which McDonald's egg is superior, but this is a great little tip for anyone who prefers theirs round and just a little more natural looking. Of course, you don't need a receipt for your McDonald's order, but you should always ask for one. The reasoning behind this is simple. It's a way of signaling to the staff that you could be a secret shopper, even if you're not, because secret shoppers have to be reimbursed for their meal by their employers. They need receipts to prove what they've eaten. Most customers, however, won't need a receipt and therefore won't ask for one. If you do make that request, however, the store will be all hands on deck to make sure you get the freshest food, quickest service, and biggest smile, just in case. Visiting during peak hours, specifically between 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., will up your chances of coming across as a potential secret shopper too, because those are the hours during which they usually appear. Play your cards right and you might just nab yourself a totally superior McDonald's experience. The self-order kiosks that McDonald's started installing in 2018 are a bit of nifty fast food tech. They're a great convenience for the customer, certainly, and they mean that diners don't have to spend time giving their orders to cashiers, while the cashiers can focus on getting the orders served up. There's just one little problem. Hygiene. Scientists discovered that the McDonald's kiosks tend to be covered in bacteria, including fecal and other digestive bacteria. Dr. Paul Matwelly of London Metropolitan University explained it this way. We were all surprised how much gut and fecal bacteria there was on the touchscreen machines. These cause the kind of infections that people pick up in hospitals. For instance, Enterococcus faecalis is part of the flora of gastrointestinal tracts of healthy humans and other mammals. Dr. Matawelli's research took place on restaurants in the UK and found that touchscreens in every single one of 8 different restaurants hosted live bacteria. McDonald's responded by issuing a statement, "Our self-order screens are cleaned frequently throughout the day. All of our restaurants also provide facilities for customers to wash their hands before eating." How do you feel about that snazzy new technology now?
You can't handle the truth!
Since the McDonald's experience tends to be more about the food than anything else, you'd be forgiven for overlooking some of their more helpful tech. After all, why bother going through the trouble of downloading an app when you just want to get your hands on the burger? Don't write off the shiny stuff too quick though, because the McDonald's app is a veritable treasure trove for regular McDonald's goers. The gist is simple. You download the app onto your phone and use it to choose meals or menu items, then you pay using your card, all before going to pick up your food at a nearby store. That last part happens entirely on your own terms too, so you can use the app to specify that you want your food brought outside to you, collected at the drive-thru, or just served up inside the restaurant, all without having to worry about the line. Then you've got the deals. These are exclusive to the app and change all the time, so it's always worth checking out what's going on. You'll nab some free stuff, discounts, and all kinds of buy some, get some free offers. The Poor Man's Big Mac is another one of those classic McDonald's hacks you might have heard about. Here's a rundown. You order a McDouble and ask for it without mustard or ketchup, but with shredded lettuce and Big Mac sauce. What you end up with is essentially a Big Mac, minus the center bread and sesame seed bun, for about half the price. But is it really worth it? It might be, and here's why. The beef and cheese is identical to that found in the Big Mac, although the construction of the burger makes for a slightly different experience. Big Macs are made upside down, and the toppings are placed below the burger, while the McDouble has its toppings on top. And that means the McDouble's cheese is melted better than the Big Mac's. By their measure, the toppings seem to be of equal quantity on both burgers, although the Big Mac is significantly taller and a little heavier. Essentially, however, it's just the bun and some seeds that make the Big Mac that much more expensive than the McDouble. The jury's out on which option is better, and much of it comes down to taste. But if you're working on a tight budget, the poor man's Big Mac might be your best bet.
It's not a Big Mac.
It's not. It's not. Well, I believe it is.
Well, I believe it isn't.
In January 2019, the internet practically exploded when a Twitter user discovered a great new use for the flap at the top of the fries boxes at McDonald's: storing ketchup. Yes, the idea appears that you can fold the flap back on itself, creating a neat little shelf upon which your ketchup or alternative condiment can be stored. Naturally, people went wild at the discovery. Options ranged from amazed to skeptical to not impressed in the least. It's probably safe to say that this sauce shelf is an unintended bonus of a box which is designed to allow workers to grab the top without burning their fingers on hot, oil-covered fries. So, while it might not be intentional, that doesn't mean it's not a good idea. Have you ever been tempted to stop by a McDonald's in the middle of the night? Well, you're not the only one. The existence of 24-hour McDonald's branches means time is no longer a factor in determining when you can pick up a burger and some fries. And there's nothing stopping you from heading out on a 3 a.m. McNuggets run. Unfortunately, things aren't looking as good on that front as they used to be. In April 2019, McDonald's announced that they'd be removing a number of items from their late-night menu, including some of the restaurant's most iconic items, like chicken tenders and the fillet of fish. In a statement given to Business Insider, who first leaked the news, a McDonald's rep explained it was simply a matter of streamlining. They said, "We always want our customers' experiences to be simple, smooth, and delicious, any time of day. That means day and night, we're always looking for ways to serve them even better." Nothing quite beats the ingenuity of mankind. Just take this so-called McDonald's secret menu. It's not so much of an in-store secret offered by the chain as it is a series of different inventions and combinations crafted by some clever McDonald's customers. Some highlights include the Land, Sea, and Air Burger, a combination of the Big Mac, Filet-O-Fish, and McChicken, all stacked together. Prefer a less boring breakfast? Try the Hash Brown McMuffin, which is a simple yet delicious combination of the McMuffin and a hash brown. How about the Chicken and McGriddles? That's when you put your order of crispy tenders right on your sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles for an overwhelming breakfast sandwich. You could even try the McCrape, which is a scoop of the fruit and yogurt parfait wrapped in a pancake. And when it comes to dessert, there's fun to be had there too. Ever dip your apple pie into a McFlurry? No? What are you waiting for? Some of these ideas are downright brilliant, others are utterly grotesque, and a few are kind of both. The one thing tying them all together is that they show the sky's the limit with McDonald's. All you need to do is ask. Some days you just can't help yourself and end up using fast food to test the limits of what your body can endure. Whether you're trying to avoid them or just curious if you can handle them, here are the least healthy things you could possibly order at McDonald's. Among the less bad options is the Big Breakfast, which clocks in at the very big indeed 750 calories. There's also the Double Quarter Pounder with cheese at 780 calories. Above those are the 20-piece McNuggets, which adds up to 890 calories. Who needs moderation? To wash it all down, there's the large chocolate shake, which weighs in at 840 calories and 122 grams of sugar to boot. Beyond calories, it goes without saying that each of these choices come with downright frightening quantities of sodium and fat. In fact, some of these menu items contain more than half the amount of salt a human ought to consume over a whole day. If you're on a health kick, you're probably not going to McDonald's. But that doesn't mean you have to completely pig out when you do. McDonald's does offer some items that are relatively good for you, and anyone who finds themselves in that weird gray area between wanting to eat healthy and really wanting McDonald's would do well to take note of these options. The healthiest McDonald's dishes include the Egg White Delight McMuffin, which comes in at 260 calories despite containing griddled egg whites, Canadian bacon, and a slice of cheddar. There's also the plain cheeseburger, which makes a decent enough quick fix meal at 300 calories, as well as the artisan grilled chicken sandwich, which comes in at 380 calories. As with all things, the trick to keeping it healthy at McDonald's is taking all things in moderation. Even chicken nuggets will be fine as long as you're not gorging yourself on them. And you're not doing that, right? Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more meshed videos about your favorite fast food chains are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.